When this gentleman's partner brought a dark-skinned newborn into the world, he left her in an incredibly harsh manner. 2 decades on, an astounding event unfolded. Mary trembled with apprehension as Tom moved towards her with a threatening air. She clutched the infant who was snoozing quietly in her embrace, even tighter. As fear engulfed her, tears cascaded down her cheeks. "Who is the father of this baby?" Tom shouted as he approached, his eyes burning with rage. Terrified of his wrath, Mary could only sob softly, unable to speak. "Speak up!" he yelled, slamming his hands against the wall close to where she was sitting. Her terror intensified, making her quiver. Tom clenched his fists in frustration, glaring at her menacingly. Without saying anything more, he stormed out of the room. As Mary watched her spouse leave, tears continued to fall. She glanced again at the innocent baby boy in her arms, feeling sorry for him because he didn't deserve such a harsh welcome. Yet she was baffled about the child's skin color since both she and Tom were white. The hospital staff were also puzzled and recommended various tests, including genetic testing, to find the answers Mary was seeking. 5 days later, Mary left the hospital. During her stay, Tom neither visited nor called. Mary felt deeply let down by Tom. What had become of their promises to stand by each other no matter the circumstances? Nonetheless, she understood why he was upset. If their roles were reversed, she admitted she would feel angry too. But his decision to abandon her was inexcusable, indicating he had lost all faith in her. Even with doubts about the child's paternity, pursuing a DNA test would have been a preferable option to outright distrust. Upon her arrival home, Mary encountered Tom, who gave her an icy, hostile stare. Without uttering a word, he retreated to the spare room. Mary sighed deeply and headed to their bedroom. Later, after ensuring her baby was fed and asleep, she resolved to confront Tom. He looked up in surprise as Mary entered the spare room. "What do you want?" he snapped, visibly annoyed by her presence. Mary stayed quiet until she was close enough, then reminded him of their love in the early days and the commitments they had made to each other. She questioned why he harbored such doubt, leaving her alone in the hospital. She challenged the notion of her ever being unfaithful to their union. Asserting her fidelity, she proposed undergoing a DNA test to dispel his doubts. Her pleas were met with tears rolling down her face, but Tom only responded with scorn. After she finished, he scoffed derisively. He refused to spend money on a DNA test, convinced of her infidelity with a black man. He demanded she take her illegitimate child and leave to avoid making their home intolerable for them. He then physically ushered her out and slammed the door shut. Devastated, Mary sat outside the door, crying and pleading for Tom's belief in her innocence. But he ignored her. He only interacted to insist she vacate his property and start packing, threatening further action if she didn't comply. Wearied by futile appeals, Mary returned to her room, deciding to grant him the space he seemingly desired, hoping it might soften his anger. Recognizing the severity of his rage, she chose to avoid further confrontation, thinking he might need time to reflect. She then reached out to her sister, sharing the ordeal. That evening, her sister came by, assisting in packing essentials for Mary and the baby. As they drove away, Mary looked back, half expecting Tom to appear, but he didn't. Her sister consoled her, assuring her that things would eventually get better. A few days later, Mary discovered that the funds in their shared bank account were completely withdrawn. Shocked and heartbroken, she rechecked the balance repeatedly, tears flooding her face. Driven by a mixture of anger and disbelief, she decided it was time to confront Tom over this outrageous act.
Also, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these real-life stories every day. Now, back to the story.
She hurriedly dressed and went to their shared home, only to find an even more devastating scene. The house was empty. All of Tom's belongings, along with hers and the baby's, were missing. Why would Tom do this? She wondered in despair. Why inflict such pain without even verifying his accusations? Did he take pleasure in causing her anguish? Hours later, amidst her tears, Mary noticed a piece of paper by the wall. It was a letter from Tom. Her heart raced as she read his final words to her. "Dear Mary, your betrayal is beyond my comprehension. I can't envision a life with you and the child, so it's best we part ways. Please don't attempt to contact me. My lawyer will be in touch soon." The full impact of his words hit her hard, sending her collapsing in tears. Inconsolable, she attempted to call him, to no avail. She figured he had blocked her number. Desperately, she called her sister, pouring out her heartbreak over what she found at home. Her sister, despite being at work, rushed to her side. 2 weeks later, Tom's lawyers delivered the divorce papers. Exhausted from crying and realizing her marriage was beyond salvage, Mary signed them without protest. The sorrow was overwhelming, leaving her weak and deeply bitter. Her sister attempted to uplift her spirits, asserting Tom never deserved her. Yet, her efforts could only provide limited comfort, though Mary appreciated her unwavering support and help with the baby. Despite everything, Mary never resented her son. Seeing him only filled her with love and gratitude, recognizing him as a blessing amidst the turmoil. She named him Jaden and committed to giving him all the love she could muster. Returning to work after her maternity leave, Mary struggled. The emotional toll made her less effective at her job in customer service at a microfinance bank. Tasks that were once easy now felt insurmountable, and her normally vibrant demeanor became subdued and unkempt. Eventually, her supervisor, Pedro Williams, noticed the change and inquired about her well-being. Initially, Mary tried to dismiss her issues, attributing them to post-maternity blues. But under Pedro's gentle persistence, she broke down and shared the turmoil her life had become since Jaden's birth. Pedro was deeply moved by her plight. He offered his support, encouraging her to stay strong and hopeful. Recognizing her as a valued team member and person, he was determined to assist her recovery. During breaks, he would invite her for lunch, and though Mary was initially reluctant, his consistent kindness led her to accept his invitations, finding a bit of solace in his company. Gradually, their interactions forged a strong bond. On weekends, Pedro would visit Mary and her child, checking in on their well-being. Whenever possible, he'd take them out for various activities, whether it was to catch a film, relax at a park or beach, dine at a pleasant eatery, or simply drive around to appreciate the outdoors. He knew Mary tended to isolate herself after work, overwhelmed by her grief. Months passed, and Mary began to reclaim her former vibrancy. She deeply appreciated Pedro's support, which played a pivotal role in her recovery from the distress caused by her dissolved marriage. Pedro, witnessing her improvement, continued his visits, establishing a comforting routine for them both. A year into this supportive friendship, emotions started to shift. Having lost his wife and child in a devastating blow, Pedro could relate to Mary's sorrow, which perhaps made their connection all the more profound. Over time, he healed, never anticipating the possibility of reopening his heart, until now. Initially, his gestures towards Mary were purely out of kindness, but his feelings evolved, wishing for a deeper connection. When Pedro revealed his desire for a more intimate relationship, Mary was taken aback. She too had grown fond of him beyond their camaraderie at work and outside, yet she hadn't foreseen this development. Despite her recovery from the ordeal with her ex-husband, lingering feelings prevented her from reciprocating Pedro's affection entirely. She declined his proposal respectfully, causing him noticeable pain. Nevertheless, Pedro's support did not waver. He continued to demonstrate his care. Then, one day, A kitchen accident led to Mary sustaining burns. Her son's cries of alarm and confusion only added to the chaos. With her sister unavailable, Pedro was the only one she could turn to for help. He responded immediately, assisting her in getting to the hospital. During her hospital stay, Mary worried about her son's care, but Pedro stepped in without hesitation, offering to look after the boy. His kindness and reliability during this time were immeasurable. Pedro assumed a paternal role with grace, caring for Jaden attentively and lovingly, ensuring the boy lacked for nothing. Their visits to the hospital allowed Mary to witness the joy and comfort Jaden found in Pedro's presence, dispelling any concerns she had about their compatibility. Surprisingly, Jaden began to affectionately call Pedro Papa, a testament to the deep bond they had formed. This unexpected turn of events brought a new perspective to Mary's life, showing her the unpredictability of relationships and the possibility of finding support and love in unexpected places. A week after her hospital discharge, Pedro drove her back. He insisted she take several days off to recover fully at home. During this time, Ana deeply considered her relationship with Pedro. She recognized his genuine affection for both her and her son. She admitted to herself that she had also grown to love him, realizing he was the perfect father figure for Jaden, something her son had been missing. Upon returning to work, she visited Pedro's office to express her gratitude for all the support he had provided during her time of need. In that moment of appreciation, she revealed her feelings for him, suggesting they explore a deeper connection. Pedro's reaction was one of pure joy. This development between Ana and her boss didn't go unnoticed at the office, sparking a mix of jealousy and admiration among their colleagues. Despite the talk, Ana remained the positive and efficient team member she always was, and Pedro's affection for her only grew stronger. 2 years into their relationship, Pedro decided it was time to make a lifelong commitment. On Ana's birthday, she walked into an office beautifully decorated with balloons and flowers, greeted by the warm wishes of her colleagues. The surprise moved her deeply, but she noticed Pedro's absence among the crowd. Then, hearing Pedro's voice, she turned to find him smiling with a birthday cake. Overwhelmed with emotions, she softly thanked him. The moment to cut the cake revealed another surprise, a golden ring hidden inside. Turning to find Pedro kneeling, his heartfelt proposal moved Ana to tears. Agreeing to marry him, she watched as he placed the ring on her finger. Their colleagues observed this touching scene, sharing in the couple's happiness with emotional looks of their own. 3 months following their engagement, Ana and Pedro were married. As time went on, they dedicated themselves to raising Jaden, ensuring he had access to the best education, clothing, and overall upbringing. Jaden thrived under their care, exhibiting remarkable intelligence. He eventually graduated from high school, pursued a degree in computer science in college, and was quickly hired by a leading tech company, receiving benefits such as a house and a car, achievements that filled his parents, especially Ana, with immense pride. However, their lives took an unexpected turn during a small outdoor celebration for Jaden's birthday. An unkempt older man approached the gathering, emitting a noticeable odor. Feeling a mix of pity and curiosity, Jaden moved to offer the man a drink, but Ana intervened sharply, identifying the stranger as Jeff, Jaden's biological father who had abandoned them. Upon recognizing Jeff, Jaden became furious and demanded he leave immediately. Jeff, desperate and tearful, fell to his knees, pleading for a chance to explain. He recounted a revelation from his mother a decade ago, admitting that the man Jaden had believed was his father was not. Jeff's confession was met with Jaden's anger, questioning why Jeff had waited so long to seek them out, to which Jeff had no satisfactory response. Jeff shared his downfall. After abandoning Anna, he led a reckless life filled with parties and short-term relationships until he settled down 5 years prior, only to find himself in a tumultuous and loveless marriage. His professional and personal life spiraled out of control, culminating in financial ruin and abandonment by his partner. A stroke followed, leaving him hospitalized and eventually destitute. Upon recovery, Jeff sought out Anna and Jaden, hoping for reconciliation but was firmly rejected. Anna informed him that she had legally terminated his parental rights years before. Mother and son unitedly demanded he never return. Jeff left, eventually residing in a care home for the elderly, filled with regret over his past choices. What are your thoughts on Jeff's fate? Feel free to share your opinions. Join us next time for more discussions.